Welcome to Bogside Chats, where we're talking everything DeFi Kingdoms and keeping it casual. My name is Matty Pesk. I am joined by Franz and Guy Kid. Boys, how are we doing tonight?
Doing well. My Chinese food arrived a little late, so I'm a little distracted right now. I ask everyone to bear with me.
Honestly, we're trying to produce like quality content for people out there, and you're gonna do this. You're gonna ruin the night by eating food on mic.
I'm not very interesting on an empty stomach, so this is what you get.
And he knows enough about audio
Do,
etiquette. I'm sure he'll mute out in between
do,
bites.
do you guys want to hear my Chinese food order, or should we just skip past it?
No, I'm
Okay.
done. I don't want to hear about Chinese food again.
All right,
No.
leave a comment. Leave a comment if you'd like to know. We'll talk it out.
All right. Well, glad to be back doing another podcast tonight. We're going to talk about some stuff in Serendale, going to Crystalville.
You're jumping into stuff tonight?
Some stuff. There's going to be some stuff, and then later we're going to talk more about the DFK fight, the things. Yeah.
Okay, good.
We had our second annual DFK Fight Club tournament. That was a lot of fun. Franz and Guy Kid did some live streaming, so they're going to give us a breakdown of everything that happened, which I'm very excited to talk about. Some real PvP. How exciting is that? That's very exciting. But before we get to that, so today is the 15th of September. There was an AMA. Big talk today from the team was that Serendale is slowly closing. You know, many of the things are shutting down, and we're moving everything over to Crystalvale. A nice timeline was actually posted by Pieface after the AMA that really shows everything. I think we got it up on the video if you're watching the video now. That shows how everything's going to be shut down over the next 4 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 weeks.
What's next on that?
So today they talked about, or not today, this week, I guess yesterday this happened. Quests are totally done. Training quests are done. The raffles are done. I mean, wishing well. I don't think anybody was really holding out.
Wishing well?
Was holding out for the wishing well there.
Mental value.
The meditation circle shutdown begins, which is a weird way to phrase that, but so pretty soon you're not going to be able to do anything with your heroes, basically, on Serendale. We knew this was coming. It was kind of cool that we got this breakdown. I mean, any surprises here? Yeah, go for it.
Have you guys moved everything yet?
All my heroes. I have a lot of items still, which I want to talk about, but all my heroes are now out of Serendale.
Okay.
I stopped questing in Serendale like a week and a half ago, so all my heroes have moved over. All of my items that I care about, that I have in a couple LPs on Crystalvale, have moved over. And like, I've still got some ancillary stuff that it's like, is it worth the gas to even bridge it over? Because I probably won't use those items in the next couple of weeks anyways. So,
well, I'm very similar. I sent like my tiers, I sent the crystals I wanted, but I still have a ton of random stuff. Bloaters, rag.
I sent my bloaters.
I mean, but like,
you didn't just sell them?
I mean, yeah. So the question: should we just sell it? I mean, is it worth it to send it over?
And shout out to a guy that's given us a ton of shout outs, Cryptogrady. He has some good streams on the arbitrage opportunities. As far as there are some items where rather than just sending them over, bridging them over, selling them on Serendale and then buying that same amount on Crystalvale, and you net a few jewel in the process. So. Definitely check that out. But I was making sure I was using this ADFK website to make sure I was getting the most bang for my jewel, so to speak.
Yeah, no, I'll say same thing. Cryptogrady, he goes on the ADFK website and like really gets in depth in terms of like, well, this is this amount here in Serendale and it's this amount in Crystalvale. So if you do this, you'll make this amount of money. I'm not gonna lie, it's a lot of work though. I mean, you gotta put your head down and like really figure it out. And props to Cryptogrady for doing it, because I don't know if I have the patience.
There were a few times where I identified arbitrage, but it wasn't a big one. And I'm like, I'd have to switch networks. It seems like a lot, and I was just like, screw it.
No, and also I do think, for me personally, I don't have that many of these items. I mean, I have a couple hundred kind of like of each of them just from my questing.
Non-well podcast.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know if it's really worth it for somebody. I mean, you'd have to be talking about a lot for it to like really be profitable.
Well, it's all percentages, right? So
Yeah.
if you have a smaller amount, you get a
Yeah.
smaller gain, but it might be more meaningful for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting, and like I said, everybody go check out Cryptogrady. He really breaks it down there. But yeah, so Serendale is winding down. It looks like next week. What was I going to say? Yeah, next week the Tavern and Summoning is going to be shut down, which is very interesting in terms of there's still a ton of heroes posted right now on the Tavern, so it will be interesting to see how the market reacts in terms of people, picking up their heroes and sending them. How that changes value.
So it seems like, and maybe this is just based on the things that I've searched for on DF King, but it seems like there are more heroes posted still on Serendale than there are on Crystalvale.
I mean, again, anecdotally, I don't know for sure the numbers, but I agree with that completely. When you make those specific searches of like, I'm looking for a monk who's level 4, every time it's more Serendale heroes than in Crystalvale.
Look at the screen. So I don't know what you just plugged in, but the whole first page is Jewel.
Yeah. So we'll be very curious to see how that affects the value of things. I mean, are you gonna, if you pick up and move your Serendale heroes that you also want to sell, you're not going to post it for the same value because it's way less right now. Crystal is at 18 cents. Jewel is floating around 23 cents. You're not going to post it for the same amount, so there will be some sort of change in the Tavern. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. All right, yeah. So that's more. It's just notes to keep in mind. I think also very interesting. They talked in the AMA today. If you do not bridge your items over, they will be doing a snapshot, but it could take months for that snapshot to be completed, and then for your items to actually show up in the new chain, whether it's Crystalvale or the new Clayton chain. So
Serendale 2.0.
Yeah, Serendale 2.0, excuse me. I highly recommend bridging your stuff over ahead of the snapshot, just because you'll have access to your things and you can, make moves prior to, having to wait for the snapshot,
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of downtime, and the people who kind of just wait and use that snapshot, it's kind of a safety net, but you're not going to be able to use it during the downtime. I mean,
yeah.
I hope, like, what do we want to like go right into prediction? Like, how long do you think this is going to take? How long do you think we're going to be Crystalvale only?
So it was very interesting because when they put this timeline together and the way they're talking about it, it sounds like it's happening fast. Things are moving. The team is building things, but then they gave this warning about the snapshot. Snapshot being months. I feel like
Did they say months?
Yes, months was said. I know that for sure because I noted that. They said like it could take months for the snapshot to be completed. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it's months for the Clayton network. That's just the snapshot. That was just that note. But if they didn't say that, I would have said like this is happening fast. I'm excited. I think Clayton's going to happen relatively quickly. But then that note kind of like made me think twice about that.
Yeah, what I heard was towards the end of Q3, mid Q4. So I mean that's
gotta be soon.
End of Q3 is end of October.
Yeah.
I mean, that maybe seems a little optimistic, but I mean, I'd be completely satisfied if we get this mid-November, early December. I mean, I think that's great.
I mean, that seems like a long time. I would be pumped if we're talking about like weeks rather than months,
Yeah.
And it sounds like they're doing a lot of work. They're building.
But it also sounds like they have an agreement with Clayton that's still not finalized. So it's like there's still T's and C's that need to be punched together. So it's like it's not going to be an overnight process, which justifies the month's timeline.
I think that's interesting. I think, yeah, they haven't said, and I don't think they're going to tell us like the exact details of whatever contract they signed with these guys, but I mean, you think that they're still negotiating like basic details of that, or you're thinking it's more
I
like
think it needs to go through a red tape process.
sure
But most red tape processes don't happen overnight, especially when you're dealing with
lawyers? Yeah.
multi-million dollar corporations or whatever. I don't even know what you can consider Clayton. Is Clayton a company, a corporation? What are they?
Well, it's like
I mean, they are a company. I mean, the blockchain itself is
yeah.
Yeah,
not
right.
a company, but it's run by a large
It's-
conglomerate
yeah.
over there.
It's an extension of like the larger, whatever. A lot of fake words there. Shell companies.
But Dreamer did mention something about that. About there's a token swap being part of this,
Right.
and that was being finalized. So, I think the deal's in place, but they're still, like you said, crossing the I's and dotting the T's.
Yeah.
Dotting the I's and
Right.
crossing the
Right.
T's.
Yeah, you
That
said
was
it right.
that was the joke that I said. Whatever.
On that note, also talked about in the AMA that I want to mention is this. We've talked about this a couple times here on this podcast. Dreamer kind of made a statement about. So the question was asked about fundraising because a couple weeks back they said that they're out there, they're trying to fundraise, they're looking for potential VCs. The comment was made that they aren't really doing that anymore. And it wasn't said directly, but basically he inferred that AVAX kind of stepped up and allowed them to continue without having to get those VCs.
The other thing he said too is they don't want to fundraise in a position of weakness.
Right.
So they want to fundraise when DFK is viewed at a high valuation. And he said things like active users, transaction counts, things that like are trending in the right direction for the game. But like obviously they're in a little bit of they're in crypto winter just like everyone else. So I'm sure they have expectations of a higher user base, more active users, more daily transactions. So they want to go and seek funding when they're in a position of power, so they get the right valuation that they want at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I feel like this is kind of old news, right? I mean, we've been hearing Dreamer talk about a position of power versus position of weakness for it feels like many AMAs now. And I mean, still agree with him, right? But one thing that I thought was interesting, what's better for a position of power than a higher token price, right?
Sure.
And to that end, there were almost 100,000 Joule burned today, and they kind of added that in, right? They were saying as part of shutting down the raffles
Yep.
and the duels, there was some extra Joule that was burned. It was 95,000 Joule burned, and total on Crystal Vale as part of gas, there've only been 200,000 burned to date. So 50% of the total, an additional 50% were burned today. I mean that's fantastic. Like I feel like at some point we're gonna start seeing this in the price, all this burn Joule, and now with more quests on Crystal Vale, it's gonna be accelerated.
No question. And again, we know this Jewel is the gas in Crystal Vale, so it's only going to continue to burn, more and more. Yeah, there was some interesting notes about the Jewel totals and stuff like that. I think this again, we're a podcast. We like speculating. We like talking about this game. This is not financial advice. Everybody knows that.
Good call. You just covered us with the lawyers out there.
But as far as I can see from my layman's opinion, Jewel it looks like it's gonna it's gonna go up, right? It's deflationary. We're burning it more and more every day. I think it's a win-win.
Well, I mean, the supply was cut, right? Last
Yeah.
AMA, last time we had a pod. So the price didn't double that day, right? So you have to think
Well, because they didn't follow through with it yet, but
right. No, of course. But like, if you're someone that's in the know that kind of understands this stuff, it's well, the supply was cut. So having a target, I believe it was like 15, 16 cents at that point, having a target of 30, 32, not unrealistic.
yeah, no question.
Short term.
You mean dollars, right?
Well, Again, we've just brought up Grady, but you hear some of the numbers he throws out over there. He's talking $100 jewel. It's very fun to listen to.
Well, that was Dreamer let that slip a couple AMAs ago. He said, the sky's the limit, maybe even $1,000 jewel, and everybody lost their mind on Discord.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and he said he regretted it afterwards, but I support it.
He knew what he was doing.
Right. Well, so speaking about some of our friends, I think this is interesting too to note. There was a release this week where two NPCs that we've seen for a while actually link to something now. That's the Jester and the Archivist. These are two NPCs that are in the castle in Crystal Vale, and now they link to. I think it's the Jester links to like
Getting there.
Which one is games? One of them is like games that are built.
Sounds like games, no?
Yeah. So the Jester, right. The Jester is games that you can go play that are built by third parties, and the Archivist is kind of like info, tools, and like other stuff that you can that's associated with DFK. So they've been talking about this for a while. This is very cool. This is part of the Kingdom Builder program that Sunbear has been running, and that they've been talking about for a long time now. A couple of the friends that we have are posted on there. The ADFK guys. We've podcasted with them before, and their website is amazing for finding the hero matches and summoning. And the DFK Fight Club is super fun, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Is because we've been running some tournaments with them and Tylus. So it's very cool now that there is an in-game link to go check out all this stuff. So I highly recommend everybody go to the castle, just check it out and click around. All the tools that they've posted are really cool, and the games are super fun. I mean, we talked at DFK Arena. We talked about months ago when it originally came out. Those guys are still doing their thing, and it's still games where you can use your heroes and compete and potentially win gold or jewel.
Yeah. No, it's a great game, but shout out to our friends. Congrats to Raph and Neindorf. Congrats to Tylus. It was really cool today when the AMA happened and when this kind of got released. The welcome page in the DFK Fight Club Discord just blew up.
Oh,
like
sure.
There were I think 20 new people joined right off the bat.
Yeah.
So it's cool what having that kind of outlet right from the game can do. Hopefully you see Bogside on there soon. Who knows?
Yeah. So this all derives from the Kingdom Builder site that they have, where you could kind of throw out applications for third-party apps like the DFK Fight Club or some other stuff. And I will throw out there that the Bogside crew has set forth a co-marketing application, so that maybe we'll be listed in this one day. But who knows? We shall see.
Yeah, it's all good stuff. It's all progress. It's all stuff that incentivizes more building, right?
Totally.
Because when it's an idea of like, oh, you might be able to get featured, that's cool. But once you see things actually featured, maybe if you're someone that can build actual things, like like Fight Club did, and a lot of
Imagine
other
if
things
this
out
is
there.
a library of 15 or 20 games that you can
Yeah.
utilize your
Oh, yeah,
heroes for.
Totally.
Like, super excited about what the sky's the limit for where this can head. And then on top of that too, is if we can incorporate the raffle system into each of these mini games, and you can actually be incentivized to play with your NFT heroes. Think of what that's going to do for A, the ecosystem of the game, but then B, also what that can do for evaluation of
Yeah.
your heroes.
I mean,
as
that's
well.
more utility is going to lead to more value. I mean, that's just basics,
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's very
there
cool.
are talk about raffles being instituted into
Oh yeah, they've been talking about that in
the
a couple of
club
the AMAs
as well. So
yeah. So on that, talking about DFK Fight Club, last weekend, along with the ADFK guys, Bogside hosted a Fight Club Invitational. Is that really what you called it? We got to come up with a better name than that.
all right. So yeah, the name sucks a little bit. Invitational, I think, is a astute name because it turned into me and Guy messaging people and kind of forcing them to join, so they were invited.
Strongly encouraging.
Yeah,
Yes.
we realized that just putting out tweets wasn't working. We went on the offensive. um, but no, we got a great turnout. Our last tournament was 12 people, and that was a kind of a struggle to get to. So
And this
getting to
one,
24,
24. Yeah.
yeah, we doubled it. So
So, I mean, I know I sound like a broken record, but DFK Fight Club is a Discord-based game where you can pull your NFTs, your heroes, put them in a lineup, and actually fight with them against other people and other, their group of 3 NFTs.
in a turn-based,
Yes, it's a turn-based.
strategic setting.
Yes, and so each of the and help me out. It's Tylus
Dirtness.
Durdness is his name. He's the guy who created it. Yeah, very similar to classic kind of Final Fantasy, pick your move and then it happens kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's super fun and it's actual utility, actual PvP with your heroes, from DFK. So this was super fun. We set up the tournament. Franz, give me the breakdown of like how the tournament works in terms of like number of heroes and how you set it up and stuff like that.
Yeah, so the actual game itself takes 3 heroes. We did best of 3 for each round. So we wanted to add some strategery outside of just the game itself. So we did a 6-hero team so that people had the opportunity to switch in and out based on what they saw from their opponent. Maybe in game 1, they switch things up for game 2, throw them a different look type of thing.
Classic sideboard, right? That's what they call that.
Is that what they call
No,
that?
side
Okay.
deck.
Side deck?
In like card games, they call that something. It has a name.
I mean, I was thinking more like in a sports kind of mentality, like a bench.
Yeah.
You sub
Fair.
people
Yeah,
in from the
fair.
bench.
Yeah.
No, but you keep running with that sideboard thing though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
No, but so that worked out well. It was, it was funny in the early rounds because there were a lot of people that were brand new to the game. So there were definitely some hiccups there. Not hiccups in the sense that like everything ran smoothly, but it was funny watching people kind of figure it out on the fly.
There's
But
a couple heroes that don't have their second ability active yet. So we saw a couple people attempt to use abilities that didn't exist in the game yet. So that was fun. But
Yeah.
also just dealing with general game mechanics as well of seeing people struggle through the cat and mouse rocks paper scissors aspect of Fight Club too. Of a lot of people were learning on the fly, if you will.
Yeah, but our finals ended up being 2 people that were brand new to the game. Pouring, who destroyed me in the semifinals to earn his spot in the finals, and Corey on the other side, who beat our defending champ Mean Machine. So the 2 of them were brand new to the game. And it was, if you're more interested in this, go check out the ADFK stream. We streamed the finals live and part of the semifinals. And we
It ended up
really,
being like a 2-hour stream that we didn't realize
yeah,
would be 2
it
hours,
was
but it was a lot of
late
fun.
into the night. No, but it was great, and you had some veterans of the game on there. Mean Machine was on live, Grady was on live, and we were just kind of
Wait,
breaking
during
things
during
down.
their matches, like.
Well, no, Mean Machine
Or
not during their matches,
oh,
but
okay.
yeah, like so I hopped off at one point to play my match.
Oh, nice.
So it was fun listening back to that the other day and seeing what was said about me when I hopped off. But nothing good.
Yeah.
No, but it was great the way everyone was breaking down the moves. Like there's a definite meta that's started to take form, and it's
Well,
cool having a sense of PvP.
Well, that was my first question was, you guys set up seedings. You ranked all the players. First, what would those rankings based on? And then wouldn't the people just with the, highest level heroes, wouldn't they just automatically win? I mean, what strategy was there?
Yeah, so we did the seeding based on total hero stats. So, the higher level heroes did
Sure.
earn the higher seeding, right?
Yeah, and I get a little discouraged because the first 2 rounds, I don't think there was a single upset.
Mhm.
And then we got to the final 8, and I'm like, mother effer, it's gonna be Crypto versus Grady versus Mean Machine in the finals, and it's gonna be 1 versus 2. Because Grady has a couple of really strong heroes, and then Mean Machine is also the returning champ with strong heroes on top of that too. But the finals ended up being Pouring, who was the 8 seed, versus Corey, who was the 6 seed. So we did get some awesome upsets once we got into the later rounds.
Yeah, and that, I was right there with Guy Kid stressing about how we didn't have the upsets, and I think it was interesting how, yeah, there's not so much parity that a 16 or a 20 seed's gonna beat a 1, but once you have heroes close enough in stats, that's when the strategy can kind of take hold. And like he said, we had a 6 versus an 8 in the finals. So those first 5 seeds having higher level heroes didn't matter.
Yeah.
That's very cool. And just in general, we don't need to get too into it. I think definitely recommend people, if you got the time, to listen to the ADFK stream that you got. They posted that as an episode. So, go check that out if you're really interested. But just give me some big picture. Like, what was the meta? I mean, was it big, bulky paladins and knights?
I think one of the interesting metas that developed was Pouring had this Dark Knight that everyone was petrified of. And Dark Knight, one of the moves in the game is a Dark Pack that if you get a Dark Pack off, you basically do damage to your teammates, but then you get an attack buff yourself.
Mhm.
So Pouring had a Dark Knight that was strong as is, that if you got a couple Dark Packs off, then his Dark Knight became super elite.
Yeah,
But on top of that, the meta that developed is what you throw right behind the Dark Knight is a priest.
is a
And
healer, right?
the priest has a move called Life Tap that, based on the damage you do on your attack, it also heals you for 50% of your damage.
Oh shit!
So Pouring had a Dark Knight that was hitting so hard that
That it
also
was
ended up
healing.
healing himself so much as well. So that was an interesting, not even like a one hero meta, but a combo meta between a priest ability as well as a Dark Knight's ability.
Again, I said big picture, but thanks for really getting detailed there.
How granular can we get?
Yeah. That's very interesting. I mean, obviously we knew like advanced classes were going to be more powerful than kind of the basics. I'm surprised that, I mean, were dragoons and sages like part of it, or?
Yeah, Dragoon and Sages were part of it, but one of the things that's still in development is the Dragoon and Sages are still working on their second abilities.
Oh, okay.
They're kind of handicapped in that sense that both of them only have one move.
Right.
But we did see a lot of Dragoons across hero teams, like
Yeah.
player combinations, because they do have a couple strong moves as well.
Well, yeah, I
Yeah,
would imagine.
the bulkier heroes can pass without the moves more than like the thieves and the ninjas of the world. They need those moves, those abilities to kind of be pretty set because that's where they're gonna get their power.
Sure.
A dragoon without great moves, it's still bulky. It still has high
Yeah.
HP, high damage. So beef is always gonna win out.
Yeah. And I do want to keep talking about this, but I just want to say, this is a third-party app where the creator has assigned moves and powers to the heroes. Like there is no reflection on the actual game of what may or may not be part of PvP.
Well, if we can get him workhorses here, maybe they will be soon. But we'll see.
Maybe, yeah. But this is just kind of like one example of like what potentially. I mean, this just gets me excited because this is just one guy who's talented who created this like super fun game. We now have Wisdom Studios, an entire game studio that's hopefully creating something like this. So I think this is just getting me more and more amped up for the official PvP. Because this is just super fun.
Shows
And
what's capable through
yeah,
in like open source blockchain game mentality, that you've got NFTs that have stats, that stats can be used and looked at in a lot of different ways for a lot of different functionality. And you kind of heard Dreamer go off today too of like Let's see someone design a game built around the random items we're getting in foraging and fishing. Maybe someone goes and creates a bloater game or something.
Yeah, I think our intern is working on something.
Who knows what he does?
We'll see, but there might be a little mini side game coming out soon from the Bogside crew.
Wow. Dropping a little,
pressure, putting the pressure on him.
Dropping a little,
On the unpaid intern.
yeah, on the unpaid intern.
I don't think the intern listens to the
No,
podcast, so he'll never hear
he
that.
definitely
But it's
doesn't.
all right.
So we had this. So really quickly, just repeat who was in the finals and who was the winner.
Yeah, guys showing the quarterfinals matchup on the screenshot.
Yeah.
No, but so the finals was Pouring versus Corey, which while we were streaming, those sound way too similar. It got very confusing at times.
And who was the winner?
Yeah, that's important, right? Corey did win in the third game of the best of three. So it was
Wow.
3 close games. There were a lot of low health heroes out there. It really there's an interrupt move where you can kind of block
Sure.
skills that your opponent uses.
Yeah.
And it came down to if there was one interrupt that went the other way,
Oh damn.
it might have went. Yeah, there might have been a different winner. So it was great.
That's great. And
We're
do
gonna
you
do another
happen
one soon.
to? Oh no, totally. I think this is super fun. But do you know who his final 3 heroes were, like in the winning match? Like what classes they were?
So
I know I'm putting you on the spot.
Guy, do you remember? I know he had a Dread. I want to say he had a Paladin and a Dark Knight.
I know he had a Dread. His strongest interesting hero was an Archer. He had a legendary Archer that just shredded. I think we ended up like by the time the finals came around, we were like, all right, what is the deal with this Archer? And the Archer has like 47 dexterity or something.
Jeez.
Just
Yeah, it was
completely
souped
off
up.
the charts.
And dexterity plays into the strength, the attack formula in this game.
Yeah.
So it was, that Archer was, so that's what it was. It was a Dread and Archer, and I want to say a Dark Knight.
Yeah, it was either Dark Knight or he might have even had a priest combo at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. Again, he had probably 6 that he interchanged. So maybe it's not. We don't know for sure, but that's very interesting. I think that segues. Let's move away from the actual strategy of the game now, and kind of what are you guys pulling away here? We've seen some actual PvP. Again, it's a third-party game, but have you personally changed your thought patterns on heroes you're targeting in the tavern? I mean, is it just get the strongest heroes you can, or is there something you're looking for now, or has this tournament changed that strategy at all?
Guy, you want to go?
For me, it hasn't changed too much in the sense of I think this is going to be like any other good PvP game, that every season we're going to see a new meta. So I think we'll see a rotation that every hero is going to have their day, every hero is going to have their season. I mean, we just talked about that Dark Knight ability. That Dark Knight was, when the game first came out, it was one of the weakest heroes. So I think we'll see a good balancing match long term. That, hey, is Fight Club?
You mean Fight Club specifically?
Yeah, is Fight Club determining the heroes I'm buying on the tavern? I would say specific heroes, no. I might take a second look at some subclasses of seeing if there's an interesting subclass combination that I like the ability of the subclass. But what it is really doing is encouraging me to have good heroes. So at the end of the day, I want strong heroes in my bag, but that I can at least have a decent showing on tournaments like this because it is a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if it changes my thoughts on kind of the meta overall, but it's just, it gets me excited for the idea that the meta can change very quickly, and every new player that came into Fight Club, like I think it was Mean Machine first that came in a few weeks ago and put a caster up front so that he gained charge quicker. And we were all like, oh shit, nobody thought of that. And then, Pouring started using a priest and that life tap ability, and no one had thought of that before. You think you have everything figured out, and then someone comes in and kind of changes things, and it's It's just fun. I want PvP so badly.
I think the number one thing that came out of this tournament is there's a lot of really cool people that play this game. And there's such a neat community being built around the DFK ecosystem. I mean, that we had 24 people in this tournament, and I feel like the entire weekend there was somebody watching all of the matches the entire weekend. Like you were playing in front of an audience, which was a lot of fun. There was definitely a decent amount of stack talking that was going around too. But it was neat seeing everyone support one another.
Yeah, that Friday when we started, it felt like, in like the NCAA tournament, March Madness, when the first round where there are so many games going on, it's just kind of chaos, people everywhere. It felt like that during our first round. Like the chat was blowing up, everyone was talking smack to everyone else, all focused on different games. The 3 battle rooms were all full. Like it was a lot of fun. So the community's great. We want to do more. We want to get more of the community out there. It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that's super exciting. I think I had some stuff going on this weekend, but I think for the next one, I'll try and get out there. I'm gonna have to watch the video and like study the strategies because I don't have these level 14, level 15 heroes, so I'm gonna have to come up with something to compete.
Well, so to be clear for anyone listening, nobody had level 14, level 15 heroes. Level 11 was the highest.
Oh, really?
Most of them were level 9 and level 10. So
Interesting.
yeah, that was something that we were worried about going in. I was
Yeah,
worried that someone was going to submit, like, that
just a
Lord
massive.
Go was
Yeah,
going to come out with his level 15 Dread Knight
yeah.
or something. We're going to put a soft level cap on the next one, but as long as you've been questing, your heroes are in the range of being able to fight with the heroes here.
Cool. Well, yeah, and
Maybe
that's.
not
I mean, that
yours. I've
was.
seen yours, Maddie. They're not great, but other
There you
people,
go.
other
There you
people.
go.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. I'll have to work on my trash talk too, because I mean, I don't even know. Can I have an all Dark Knight team? Because I have a lot of Dark Knights.
You can
Interesting. Maybe I'll do that. Has anyone
limit
done that?
one dread per team.
Has anyone done that? Has anyone done any like weird things like that?
There have been some teams with 2 Dark Knights.
Somebody rolled out a 3 Dragoon team, which was interesting.
Ooh.
That's interesting. Yeah, C9N, who part of this podcast, or used to be at least, who knows?
Wow. Wow.
Haven't seen him in a while, just saying. But
He's been
anyway,
traveling.
but he's rolled out an all monk team, which is interesting because
Hmm.
you don't know which one to interrupt when he has the meter. It could be coming from any direction, the shot. So
Interesting.
yeah.
That's super cool, and like that's it gets me so pumped. Like this game could like the actual game could be like this, where we're actually talking about massive meta on the whole like world scale. It's very interesting, very exciting. All right, well, like I said, go check out Adventures in DeFi Kingdoms. Franz and Guy Kid did a stream with Raph where it was like, what was it, 2 hours? You said 2 hours where
2 hours and 20 minutes
Oh,
start to
geez.
finish. But
Okay.
feel free to do some skimming so that you
Yeah, I
can
was gonna
see
say, yeah. Put it on
different
1.5 or 2 maybe, and they go through the finals, which is very cool. All right, that about wraps up this episode. I do want to give one final shout out, and I'm gonna get the name wrong because I've gotten it wrong every time. Sergeant Filthy McNasty, right? I guess that's the name. Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. What's hard about that?
Because I think it's going to be like Sergeant McNasty. That's right. The filthy throws me off for some reason.
I think if you called him Sergeant Nasty, I can't see him getting mad at that.
No, I don't. Yeah,
I think it'd be okay.
Like I just want to call him Sergeant, to be honest.
The Sarge.
The Sarge.
Let's get that rolling. Sarge.
catch.
Yeah. He's been putting out a lot of really cool content, a lot of videos and streams about DeFi Kingdoms, but he now has Jackals, which I'm definitely pronouncing that wrong, who is part of the team, the DFK team. He's a lore expert. He's the guy who kind of creates, the stories within the world. And he actually posted this really cool thing about the gods that I highly recommend everybody check out. It's on Twitter. We'll link it in the show notes, but he's going to have him on his show Friday, which is tomorrow, which is probably today when I post this episode.
Or yesterday when you post this.
Or
We'll
yesterday,
see.
or
We'll see.
yesterday. Yeah. He's having him on, and I highly recommend everybody check that out. He's also having Raph with him from ADFK, and they're going to talk to the official lore master. I don't know if lore master is his title, but I'm going to call him the lore master.
Yeah,
So
why not?
so that'll be a
lore weaver.
fun lore weaver. Oh, that's a cool title. That's way cooler than master. So check that out. I love hearing the stories and all the like, I don't know if you saw in the castle, like the dwarf king is like insane. I love that stuff, like as part of the game. It's very fun.
I can't wait for like a real
I
we've
know.
gotten little excerpts of the lore
Yeah, exactly.
on tweets.
Yeah.
I want the full PvP. I want a storyline I could play through.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be awesome.
Well, and like this thing, the gods, get this massive chart of like this god comes from this god. Like there's a good god and evil god. Like, I'm into it.
It takes me back to like the first few seasons of Game of Thrones where I could stare at a map of Westeros for hours.
Yeah.
Just like I want that for DFK. So
it's happening.
exciting.
It's happening. Yeah,
it's exciting.
All right, so everybody go check that out. Otherwise, guys, last final comments. DFK, Fight Club, Serendale, turning into Crystal Vale. Any final comments? Say something. Just say something here.
I'm excited.
All right, there you go.
Hype is back for DFK, baby.
Hype is back.
I've been neglecting my Chinese food, so I think I need to get back to that.
Oh my god. All right, well, for Guy Kid and for Franz, this has been Bogside Chats. My name is Matty Pesk. We will see you guys next time. Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Dude, my scallion pancakes got cold over here.
Oh no.
I don't care.
Pancakes? Why even bother with that with the Chinese food?
Why are you going to
Dude,
even
they're delicious.
ruin our episode with